Green, green, green. Almost every circuit board on Earth is green. But Apple uses black, Arduino uses blue, and gaming motherboards are literally RGB. So why is everything else green? I mean, who decided? Was there a meeting? Did someone, look at a board and go,
Gentlemen, I'm thinking green.
Here's the thing. Nobody decided. That's the whole story. The real reason is weirder than you think. First, quick correction, because most people get this wrong. The board itself, not actually green. This is what a bare circuit board actually looks like. Yellowish, brownish, kind of gross, honestly. The green you see, that's a coating. A thin protective layer on top called a solder mask. It stops the copper wires inside from oxidizing, from accidentally connecting where they shouldn't, from basically dying. So the real question isn't why are circuit boards green? The real question is, why is the solder mask green? And this is where it gets interesting. It's the 1960s. Electronics are exploding. Transistor radios, mainframes the size of rooms, the space race. Circuit boards are everywhere, but they keep dying. The copper traces oxidize, corrode, short circuit. Engineers needed a protective coating, fast. So they turned to epoxy resin, a tough insulating material, mixed it, applied it, let it cure, and when it dried, it was green. Not because anyone chose green, because of the chemistry. The bisphenol A epoxy base had a slight yellow tint. Mix in the hardeners and additives needed to make it functional, and the whole thing cured into this specific shade of green. An accident. A chemical accident that became a $500 billion industry standard. But accidents don't become standards by themselves. They need a push. Enter the United States military. The Army ran circuit boards through every brutal test they could. Heat, cold, humidity, vibration, shock. They tested multiple colors. Green won. Green outperformed everything. So they mandated it. Every circuit board for military use had to be green. Now, here's the part nobody talks about. The companies building boards for the military, they had warehouses full of green coating, and they served civilian customers too. So when your neighbor wanted a circuit board for his new radio company, what color do you think he got? Take a wild guess. Okay, but here's where it stops being historical accident and starts being actual science. Your eyes have 3 types of color receptors, called cones. Red cones, blue cones, green cones. Guess which ones are the most sensitive? Your eyes see more shades of green than any other color. In the 495 to 570 nanometer range, that's the green zone, your visual system is at peak performance. So when a factory worker sits down to inspect a circuit board for 8 hours straight, looking for hairline cracks, incomplete solder, tiny defects the size of a human hair, green is the easiest color to stare at. It causes the least eye strain, and defects are easiest to spot. Look at this. Green, traces clear, defects visible. Black, you can barely see anything. White, the traces basically disappear. Green wins. Not because of tradition, because of biology. And there's one more thing. Contrast. Circuit boards have white text printed on them, component labels, part numbers, and shiny copper traces running underneath. Green gives the highest contrast against both. White letters pop, copper shines. It almost feels like it was designed this way. It wasn't. That's the insane part. So if green is so perfect, why does Apple use black? A few reasons. Black absorbs heat better. Useful when you're cramming a supercomputer into a phone that's, 6 millimeters thick. It's also a flex. If someone opens your device and sees a black board, it looks premium, intentional. Like even the parts you're never supposed to see were designed. Arduino went blue. Why? Because they wanted to signal something. We're not industrial. We're for hobbyists. We're open source. We're friendly. Blue said that in a way green didn't. And then there's the gaming world, which looked at all of this and said,
What if it was RGB?
But here's what all of these companies pay for going off-green. Non-green boards cost more. Always. Factories have spent 60 years optimizing for green. The machines, the chemical stock, the inspection algorithms, all tuned for green. Change the color, and you're paying for a factory to stop. Clean everything, recalibrate, and that cost gets passed to you. Green isn't the default because no one thought of anything better. Green is the default because changing it costs real money. So let's recap what happened. A chemical accident, a military mandate, a supply chain monopoly, a biological advantage, a 60-year industry standard. Nobody sat in a room and chose green. Green chose itself through chemistry, war, economics, and the biology of the human eye. And now every device you own, your phone, your laptop, your TV remote, carries that accident with it. The most common color in all of modern electronics is a mistake that got really, really good at surviving. What other everyday things exist purely by accident? Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what you think. And if you want more of this, questions you've had your whole life but never thought to ask, you know what to do. New one dropping soon.